Change Your Life show with me, Reverend Lee Wallach. We're here each and every day at 8 a.m. for your viewing, listening pleasure as we continue to explore life from all aspects. You never know what I'm going to talk about that day because it doesn't come up until that day when I start thinking about things, when I start asking questions about myself. And so today, I went pretty deep this morning and went into the idea of what happens when we peel back the layers. What happens when we peel back layer after layer after layer of our personality or our persona? And our personality and persona is nothing other than something that we've created in our mind. It's not a true thing. It's something we've just created. And so as I explored that deeper and deeper in thought this morning, and then I went into meditation, I realized that when we eliminate our persona, we live in the real paradox that is life. And that is, we are nothing and we are everything. And when we're in that state, we can't even know that state because it's everything and nothing. There's nothing to compare against. And isn't that sort of why we don't go there? Well, if I'm going to know nothing or everything and there's no feeling, why go there? You see, that's the ego. That's the personality. But here's the key thing. We're not meant to get back to that state of pure bliss, pure nothingness. We're meant to have glimpses of it, but we're in our physical body for a reason. At least I perceive so. We're in a physical body with our senses to experience life as fully, as completely, and perfectly as we can. But then we ask the question, if we're here to experience life, why is there so much suffering? Well, that's because we become attached to an illusion that we can be one way all of the time, or we buy into that we've got to be the way that someone else has determined that is right for us. And so all depression, all anxiety, as I've come to understand, is a result of having unrealistic expectations of yourself, of your life. And basically, the unrealistic expectations may be ones you've set for yourselves or ones your parents, your church, your corporation has set. And they really have nothing to do with what juices you. You know, what does juice you? I don't know. I'll tell you one thing, speaking to you in the mornings like this juices me. I have no expectations about this, but being my authentic self and sharing with you, and then you giving me feedback and we share back with each other. That's the only expectation. I don't care how many people are out there. I don't care where the people are. I just care that we communicate, that we share ideas. And these ideas that we share are about uncovering a greater who we are, a greater sharing of ideas, of expansion. So I don't claim to have answers. I claim to have questions. I claim and pray that I am open to receive the answers and that my ego does not shut me down. Here's the thing. When we admit that we don't know, we are open to greater experiences of life. The second we will not let go of the idea that we know things, we limit ourselves in that very moment. Do you get that? When you know something, you've limited anything about you expanding more. Now, take in mind that the universe is infinite. So if the universe is infinite, that means that the ability for us to experience it is infinite. It is not finite. And to know something is a finite expression. Interesting, isn't it? Even take this just popped into my mind. Even take the concept of 1 and 1. Well, I know it's 2, but what if 1 and 1 was about the combination of 1 and 1 in infinite dimensions at the same time? Then what is the answer? I don't know. Mind is blown. Boom. But you see, we don't ask those questions to take ourselves outside of what we believe is true. And here's the key, gang. Our beliefs are all made up. We've made them up, or others have made them up for us, and we've bought into them. We've drank the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid of I know, and now I am limited. Whoa. Shariel says, I believe that life has made me a forever student. That's an interesting way of saying it. I think learning, I'm gonna explore that a little bit. Learning, depending on how you define it, from the human perspective, is about getting more information. Learning is about getting more information, more information, more information. I don't know that that benefits you. However, becoming aware that life has given me this insatiable quest to become more aware, to see the greaterness of all life, which means I can have a greater experience of all life. That's better than learning something new, because it's experiencing something new. And think about this. Why else would we have senses if it wasn't for the ability or desire to experience? I don't know about you, but I can learn something, but it doesn't mean crap to me until I experience it. Oop, did I say crap? Yes, I did. Guess what? I can say anything. I'm not bound by society's rules unless I choose to be bound by them, or I blindly get bound by them. You see, here's what I've uncovered is everything only has the meaning that we give it, the label that we give it. You realize from the time you're born, you're taught to label things? Then you got to ask the question, okay, if I'm taught to label things, how am I labeling them? Well, I'm labeling as good or bad. Who discerns what's good or bad? From the infinite perspective, there is no good or bad. And you say, well, Lee, how can that be? How can the infinite have no good or bad? It's real simple. The infinite has nothing to compare against. With nothing to compare against, guess what? You can't have judgment. Without judgment, no good or bad. Keshev asked the question, what's the difference between imagination and visualization? Oh, imagination is something without bounds. You're just allowing the mind to explore, to expand, to go out, to get big, to imagine anything that's possible. Visualization is about, in your mind, creating an image of a specific thing and filling all the details in. Subtle, but there's a big difference. Imagination is without bounds. Visualization, you're actually doing the creating of an actual image. In imagination, there is no actual image. It's forever, never, ever, ever, ever expanding. You're just continuing. It never stops. Now, that's my idea on it, Keshev. I don't know if it's the right idea for you. Only you can discern that. One of the great things I love is that as a teacher at Agape, I tell people all the time, don't believe a word I say. Find out and prove it for yourself, because then you own it. And the only one that'll know the truth for you is you. No one else can do that. Here's the key thing about that. Don't be judging yourself too hard, because a lot of times that's what happens. The worst judge about who we are is ourselves. It's not, in fact, wait a second. I said most of the time, all the time. The worst judge of our lives is us. We judge ourselves, we criticize ourselves, we put ourselves down. And then I ask the question, when we're doing that, by whose standards are we doing that? Interesting. I love these ideas. I love these discussions. And Kesha, thank you for bringing that up. And Shariel, thank you for bringing that up. I love that when you people bring up your perspectives and I get to expound on them, whether or not I know the answer or not. I love expounding. Insatiable quest for greater awareness. Yeah. Make peace. He says, Quentin says, make peace with your innate magnificence. Also make peace that you'll never know everything. Make peace that you're always questioning everything. Make peace that it's a journey that will never end. Make peace that you never get to the end of the journey. Peace is going with the flow. Peace is without judgment. Sherry says she's her own worst critic. Well, Sherry, welcome to the world of everybody. Everybody is their own worst critic. Now, you may not see it on the outside, but inside, that ego judge, it's going like crazy with everybody out there. Don't even think that someone's got that, doesn't have that. If you're in human form, you have ego. And if you have ego, it's criticizing you. Rest assured. But there's beauty in that too. That criticism could be that which propels you to a greater you. Propels you to a greater you. So you got to look at it. There's always good and bad in everything. Everything is always in balance. Now that's the key to being aware. The key to being aware is to be able to see that there's balance in everything. No matter what the event, no matter what is happening, you will always be equally supported as well as challenged. It's just the level of awareness that we have that determines the experience and the feeling that we derive from it. If you can see the balance in any situation, you will have peace, because that's what peace is. Peace is not that everyone thinks the same way. No, that's not peace. That'll never happen, because consciousness is infinite, so consciousness will be infinitely expressing itself. Peace is for you to see the balance in your life. And you can't bring peace to anyone else. Your power rests within you, and you have a choice, and that choice is to use it day in, day out, moment by moment, and when you fall off track, get back on. So I love this discussion today. I want to tell you, thank you for joining me. I try to keep it about 10 minutes. That's where I want to keep it. I don't want to make it long. I don't like to be long-winded. I like to get to a point, get you thinking, get myself thinking, and then we move on. So with that in mind, realize it's your journey. You get to decide where you take it. And on your journey, no, I'll be here every day at 8 a.m. And I want you to know I accept you and I love you just the way you are. Have a great day, everybody. Aloha.